Private banking exploded rapidly after the war ended in 1815, culminating in the Panic of the 1819 Jacksonian era. The charter of the Second Bank of the United States was the 20 years and therefore up for the renewal in 1836. Its role as the dispository of the federal government and revenues made in a political target of the bank chartered by the individual states who objected invited and BUS relationship with the central government partisan politics came heavily into the play in the debatable over the renewal of the charter. The classic statement by the Arthur Schlesinger was that the partisan political during the Jacksonian period was grounded in a class conflict viewed through the lens of the party elite discourse. Schlesinger saw inter-party conflict as a clash between the wealthy wings and the working class Democrats. President Andrew Jackson strongly opposed the renewal of its charter and built its platform for the election of the 1832 around doing away with the Second Bank of the United States. Jackson politically targeted was Nicholas Biddle, financial politician and the president and the Bank of the United States. Apart from the general hostility to the banking and the belief that specifying were the only true monies, Jackson's reasons for the opposing the renewal of the charter revolved around his belief that the bestowing power and responsibilities upon a single bank was the cause of the inflation and other perceived evils. During September 1833, President Jackson issued an executive order that ended with the deposit of the government funded into the banks of the United States. After the September 1833, these deposits were placed in the state bank charter banks, commonly referred to as the Jackson Pet Banks. While it is true that the 6 out of the 7 initial depositors were controlled by the Jacksonian Democrats, the latter depositors, such as the ones in North Carolina, South Carolina, and McHagan, were run by the manager who opposed Jacksonian politics. It is probably a misnomer to label all the states' charter of repositories pet banks. 1837 to 1863 free banking eras. Prior to the 1837, a banking charter could be obtained only by the specific legislative act, but in 1837 the McHagan Act allowed the automatic chartering of the banks that could fulfill the McHagan charter requirements so as to no longer require special consent of the state legislature. The following year, New York enacted similar legislation with the Free Banking Act, and other states soon followed. These banks could issue bank notes against specified golds and silver coins, and states regulate these reserves, requirements, interest rates for loans, and deposit the necessary capital ratio, etc. Free banking spread rapidly to other states, and from 1840 to 1863, all banking businesses was done by the state chartered institutions. While the banking system of several states were initially unstable over time, financial indicators in most states stabilized in the early years of the free banking. In many western states, the banking industry degenerated into the wildcat banking because of the laxity and the abuse of the state laws. Banking notes were issued against little or no security, and credit was overexpanded. Depressions brought waves of bank failure, in particular in multiplicity of the state bank notes caused great confusion and loss. The real values of bank bills was often lower than its face values, and the issuing bank's financial strength generally determined the size of the discount. However, after several years of the experience, with the exception of a few exogenous shocks, different states developed more functional and stable banking industries.